to show you my wet on wet shading technique. This is a packet that I had previously done. It's called Jack and Santa, and I used this shading technique on this packet. The first thing I do is base coat the piece with one coat of the base color. In this case it was the green, the blue, and the red. So one coat of base color. Then I do my wet on wet shading, and this is what I want to show you. I base coat it again, and I shade it and I highlight it. I base coat it again, shade it, and highlight. Then I might deep shade with the shading color by floating color. You could highlight with the highlight color by floating color. And then I place in any details. So I'm going to show you that technique right now. First, I'll load my brush in the base color, and let's just say we'll pretend I'm doing a sleeve. So I'll load it in the base color, base coat the sleeve, and then let it dry. All right, I have let it dry, and as you can see, it does not have to be solid. Then I'm going to base coat the area again, and I just do one small area at a time because I want this to say wet, and I have to put a lot of paint on here so that it will stay wet. If you don't have enough paint on, the technique won't work as well. I will then wipe my brush lightly, pick up the shading color, and side load my brush with the shading color and the base color still in my brush. This all has to be done while the base color is still wet. I might do it a second time. Bring this color around, maybe put in a fold or two, pick up some more paint. Then I'm going to pinch my brush, side load into the highlight color, which in this case is white. Colors I'm using are white and sapphire and Payne's gray. And then I wiped my brush again, then I might load back into the base color very lightly, wipe my brush, and I can feather blend this if needed. Wipe it again, maybe feather blend this over here. When I'm blending, notice that my brush is laying down. I might pick up a little bit more and just put that shadow back in. Then I'm going to leave it alone. The important thing to remember with this technique is don't overwork it. Leave it alone. Do it and get out of it. Do a section at a time. For instance, on this piece, I would do, and always work from back to front. So I would do the pants first, then I would do the jacket, the back of the jacket, and then I would do the sleeve. And I would suggest doing it and getting out of it because it doesn't always look the best. Let me cover this up. It doesn't always look the best the first time you do it. And your tendency is to keep working it, and then you will overwork it. And if you look at these individual sections, they're not perfect and they're not the best. But if you do it and get out of it, when you get all of the sections done, you'll find that they look better than you think they do. Then you're going to let it dry. Again, you're going to work all of the sections to this point. If there's 3 sections, you work 3 sections. If there's 5 sections, you work all 5 sections. And if there's 10 sections, you work all 10 sections in the same color. Then go back and evaluate the piece as a whole. I'm just showing you one section, but that's how you would do it. Then you would take a clean brush and side load into your shading color. And this time you just have the water and you're blending and getting a side load of paint. And then deepen any of the shadows with the side load. And deepen, get a little more paint. And I'll deepen this fold. Let it dry. After it's dry, you can then re-highlight with a floated color of the highlight color if needed. This particular piece really doesn't need additional highlight, but I'll do it anyway. And I'll just float an additional highlight on there. Maybe put one down here. The thing to remember is that when you get all finished, this little spot in here, for instance, that looked like a mistake when I first did it, it just makes the coat have more depth. And that's what you have to keep in mind when you're doing this technique, that sometimes by the time you get to the end, some of these imperfections that we think are imperfections when we're putting them in end up just being another shadow and giving us more depth. Then after that, you put the details on. And depending on how many details too, that covers up some of the shadows and highlights. So here's the detail on the hat and the scarf. I did the Santa coat the same way, however, you can't really. Okay, here's the first step. Here's the first step on the blue, the red, and the green, just base coating. Here's the second step, doing that technique on the blue, red, and the green. And you can see, you can get some pretty colors there. This is the third step, adding shadows and maybe a few highlights with floated color. As you can see, I did add a few red tints in this step as well. So you can add tints, and then the final is the detail. I hope this helps you with your wet blending. Check out my website, www.patlentine.com, and thank you for watching.